use the interactive features. Welcome. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's discussion on mindful leadership. I'm here with Tony Siccardi, and welcome to those watching us on YouTube. Just a reminder, when you're on YouTube, you cannot use the interactive features. Those are only available on the app. That's really the power of these panel discussions. You can enable the mic by raising your hand, and you can talk directly to the coach, or just type your question in the Q&A box and the chat box and bring your questions and concerns straight to us. Wonderful opportunity here to talk to an amazing and experienced coach. And that coach is Tony Siccardi. Tony, I'll pass things over to you to, if you want to get started, maybe with an introductory practice to settle us into today's
Sure,
discussion.
let's do that. Very good idea. Thanks, Stefan. Hello, everyone. So let's get started with a simple meditation to center ourselves before we get started on the topic. So if you want to find your comfortable position, feet flat on the floor, if you're sitting on a chair, spine upright, and you can let your hands rest on your lap. Your head should be slightly tilted, as if you were looking at an object 5 or 6 feet in front of you on the floor. And then you can spend some time adjusting the position, make it comfortable, relaxed, and also alert and dignified. And when you are ready, gently, softly, close your eyes. And let go of any unnecessary tension in your body. Relaxing your forehead, your eyebrows, softening the little muscles around your eyes, your mouth, relaxing your jaw, the back of your neck, upper back, relaxing the shoulders, the lower back, letting go of any unnecessary tension in your body while maintaining an alert and dignified position. Letting go physically and also mentally. Letting go of the past, the future, any stories, inner conversations, and settling into the body in the present moment. And for this session, I also invite you to let go of any expectations, to come into it with an open mind, a curious mind, and to let go of any judgment. There is no right or wrong, good or bad, especially if you have any questions or things you want to ask. There's only the present, unfolding moment by moment. Now connect with the breathing, the gentle movement of your breath, your belly and your chest rising up and falling down as you inhale and you exhale. Simple awareness of your breathing. And know that you can use your breath as an anchor to the present at any time. Now slowly come back, feeling your feet on the floor, your hands on your lap. You can wiggle your toes, your fingers, stretch if you feel like it. And when you are ready, slowly open your eyes. Welcome back.
Thank you for that, Tony. And if anyone has any questions or comments about this practice, anything you experienced, you'd like some clarity on, please leave them in the Q&A box and the chat window. I have one actually. I really like how you tell us to be alert and dignified,
Hmm.
because dignified is great because it's, it's upright and it's strong, but it's not like rigid or straining, which isn't
Hmm.
dignified. There's still
Hmm.
a looseness there and a sureness of yourself, which I think is great.
Yeah, very good point. Thank you for noticing this. It's very important. The position is very important. The position of your body will reflect the position of your mind. Everything is connected. And when we change our body posture, it changes also the way our mind functions.
Wonderful. And speaking of dignified, let's talk about leadership and
Hmm.
embodying leadership. What makes someone a leader?
What makes someone a leader? Anytime you are influencing other people, you are a leader. So it doesn't have to be at work. You don't have to have the stripes to be a leader. You don't have to be a manager. It could simply be that there is a task, something to accomplish, and you take that to heart and you start influencing other people in helping with that task. That makes you a leader.
And can you give me an idea of some qualities? I guess you can't give an exhaustive list, but what are some like really core qualities you think are the most important in a in a modern leader?
So, in a modern leader, some of the important qualities are to be able to influence people. You need to have some passion. You need to be passionate about your cause. If you're not passionate yourself, you're not gonna make other people passionate about it. So you need that passion inside. But then that's not enough. In order to influence other people, they need to care about you. And for them to care about you, you need to care about them. So empathy is very important as well. If you are maybe in a position like in the military or some other places where it's really hierarchical, maybe you can order other people. But for the modern leader today, it's important to be able to bring people to your cause without the stripes, without the formal leadership. You need to be able to influence them. And for this, empathy is very, very important.
Yeah, and it sounds like, you can certainly make someone do something, but is it going to be like as high quality as someone doing something they want to do for you,
Mhm.
you know?
Exactly. And that's the point. When someone really wants to do something, they will put their heart into it. They will do their best. If someone is doing something just because they've been told to at work, they're basically doing it for money, for the paycheck, and it's not the same quality of work.
Yeah, definitely. And so how does mindfulness factor into this? What makes someone a mindful leader who can do this more effectively?
So the difference with a regular leader and a mindful leader, to me, is really what we were just talking about: the fact that they can empathize with other people, they can influence other people, and they are passionate about their work. We talk about it a lot in emotional intelligence, and some of the competencies of emotional intelligence definitely reflect what a mindful leader would be. So, empathy is first, to really care about other people, but then you also need to have a positive outlook. You need to be able to have resiliency. If you see a setback, you need to be able to get back on your feet and try again. You need to see the what's positive about the situation, and and that is contagious. When the leader is really positive about what they're doing and really passionate, it's contagious. People around them get also passionate about it.
All right, everyone, I encourage you now to leave in the chat window what qualities do you admire in a leader? And have a look at those qualities and think, do I have those qualities? And I think perhaps you do, especially if you care to be mindful, if that's your goal. So yeah, leave that in the chat window for sure. Mindful, having a mindful workplace, bringing mindfulness into, being able to manage and lead. Is that practical? Can you be fully mindful and, handle the pressures and the competitiveness of a corporate environment, let's say?
I like to reverse the question. How could you without mindfulness?
Touche.
And truly, I mean, when we see situations at work when people have a lot of work and it's really busy and so on, uh, what I have seen in my own experience is really people acting like, headless chickens, like running in all directions and not accomplishing much and being stressed out, getting into real stress and chronic stress and so on. Uh, with mindful leadership, it's different. When people are more mindful at work, they realize how much they can do. They know their own strength. They know what they can accomplish and when. So they can plan a lot better. They also know their priorities. They are able to look at the forest, not the tree, and realize what's really a priority versus what's just urgent, what can be done by someone else. So there is that overview as well that you get with mindfulness, and that really helps you prioritize what your task and what you're doing, and also communicate better with both your leadership and the people who are working for you. And when you have all those qualities, you can really function as a team and accomplish a lot more than uh, a team that's not mindful or doesn't have a mindful leader.
Yeah, it seems like it allows for more fluidity and which is efficiency, which is
Mm-hmm.
what ultimately any practical aim would want, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's great. And I got a comment in the comment box here. Julie admires empathy in a leader.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, let's talk about empathy because a lot of people imagine it as like kind of a soft quality that maybe they'd be hesitant to incorporate into a leadership position where you need to be strong. Or do you? Yeah. How does empathy work when you're a leader?
Well, let's talk about empathy as a leader and how it works. So, a lot of people have this image of empathy as being really soft, like you said. And someone comes to work and they have an emotion, and you empathize with them, you feel their emotion, and you commiserate with them. And that's not all what it is. Empathy starts with emotional control. You are able to see your emotions inside, and you are able to control them. You know what it feels to be sad, to be angry, and you know how to deal with it. Once you know how to do that yourself, you can help other people do the same thing for themselves. And that's really what empathy is to be able to recognize in someone else that they have a strong emotions, to be able to listen to them, to really listen to them, to ask the right questions, to be in tune with them, and then find words to help them to deal with this situation. That's what real empathy is.
So it's a lot more active. It's a lot more constructive. It's not just sort of
Mm-hmm.
this passive process that ends up allowing, people are always worried about like allowing people to just kind of be as they are rather than improving them and pushing them. And
Yeah, it's about being curious about it. It's like, saying, Stefan, I mean, how do you really feel? What's going on?
Mhm.
And, what do you need right now? Asking questions and really listening, as opposed to say, oh, I know how you feel. This happened to me last year and blah, blah, blah. It's just not the same. The empathy is very active. It's really probing and being interested in the other person. It's really caring about the other person.
Yeah, that sounds pretty practical to me. Caring about the health of the team that you're leading. And yet, I guess
Hmm.
so many people are worried that they shouldn't get too wrapped up in that for one reason or another.
Hmm. So what happens to the team, to the people in the team when they have a leader that really care about them? They feel safe, right? They feel like someone cares about them, about their success, about their career. Now they feel safe and they can take risks. They're not afraid to do their job and to take some risks, to take some bigger challenges, and to become even better at what they're doing. And that's the difference between a team that has a good, mindful leader and a team that has an authoritarian leader, for example. A team with an authoritarian leader will tend to be afraid to make mistakes. and do exactly what they're told to do as opposed to take challenges. So there are a lot of advantages to have mindful leadership for a team.
All right, got another comment here from Ernesto. Says he values in a leader someone who listens.
Mhm. And that's another dimension of empathy, is to be able to listen. So when you're a leader and someone in your team is coming to your office for a one-on-one, for example, you have to let go of your emails, of your tasks, maybe even put your phone on airplane mode, so you can really listen to the person who is with you. And again, listening is not just waiting for your turn to speak. It's being interested in what the person has to say, truly trying to understand and asking open-ended questions.
You know, I've had many managers who were constantly asserting that they didn't have time for whatever someone was bringing to them, and it was constantly like, you can't be giving me this. I don't have time. I don't have time. I don't have time."
Mhm.
You know, they put up this shield of they have such more important things to do than, you know, whatever the problems are on the ground floor. And I felt like all the employees became like more and more like worried about bringing stuff to them. They didn't want to stress out their poor leader. So I feel like creates a lot
Yeah,
of blockages.
this happens in the pace setting leaders. They tend to have a lot on their plate and working long hours, and they want to set the pace, like to show the example so that their team will do the same thing. And this has a lot of limitations. What happens is that the team gets discouraged. They don't want to be like that. They don't want to always work long hours and to be in that situation. And they don't want a leader who doesn't care about them. Because if you cannot spend any time with your team, then it shows that you don't really care about them. Otherwise, you would make time for them. So if a leader is acting like this, they don't realize it, but they're losing their team, and they have to come back and realize that the people who are supposed to do the work is not the leader, but the team itself. The team is supposed to do the work, and the role of the leader is to make it possible for the team to do the best work. So when you think that way, it changes everything. As a leader, it's not about how much you accomplish yourself, it's how much you allow your team to accomplish.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So many leaders, it's kind of top down and they're kind of
Mhm.
serving their position rather than just serving the team. It's kind of the servant
Mhm.
leader, is what comes to mind right now.
Yeah, yeah. And to me, service leadership is part of mindful leadership. When you're a mindful leader, what you think about is, how can I help other people being their best, doing their best? How can help my team doing their best? And if you do that, then you help your team doing what they can to help the clients of your companies. So I think it's Ken Blanchard who says that in service leadership, that if you're a leader, your clients are not the customers of the company. Your clients are the employees, and that's who you want to serve.
Hmm. Love it. This is great. And I don't know, how many working environments have you seen where this is in place, and what examples have you seen where this has really, really worked and really made a difference in a corporation? Can you give me some maybe some anecdotes or stories around that?
Oh yeah, I've worked in a corporation for a long time, and with the same team for several years, and we had different managers. At some point, where the manager would make time for us, the door was always open, and she would really listen to us. And under this manager, we accomplished our best work. Everybody felt safe. Everybody felt like, we wanted to work for her. We wanted to make her look good. And because she cared about everybody. She asked personal questions, how we were doing, about our family, and so on. We felt like there was real caring here. And then we had another manager after that, and that was the type of manager who never had time for us. I was in his office for one-on-one, and he would check his texts and his emails and be on the phone with someone else. It was awful, like no listening at all. And I didn't stay. I asked to move to a different team. I couldn't take it anymore. And he lost a lot of major players in his team because of his attitude. So it makes a big difference when a manager really cares about the team will care back in return. When a manager is not mindful and doesn't care about the people or doesn't have time for them, then the people will move on.
It sounds like you need to also be a good parent in a way. Like, not just like being a good like manager and like really skilled at your job, but also you just need to have like the ability to nurture in a way.
Yes, and a lot of managers actually say that they feel like their role is a little bit like being a mommy and a daddy at work, for their employees. There is a little bit of that, a lot of nurturing, like you said.
Yeah, and so what about ego? Like how is there sort of a how is ego at play with leadership? When is there the right amount? When is it problematic?
So I think the ego can look good at some, in some ways when the leader is able to make their point and to talk back to people and so on. But it is a problem when you lack humility. You cannot have emotional control. You cannot have empathy without any humility. You cannot have self-awareness without humility. And all the things that we learn with meditation, which take us to self-awareness, to have more emotional control and so on, require some kind of humility. So in my opinion, the ego is something that has to be in check, something that you have to be able to control. You can kind of let it loose when you're really passionate about something and you talk about something you really want to accomplish. But when you are confronted with difficult situations, especially with your employees or other people that you want to influence, you want to show humility. You want to be able to be present to the situation and be patient with people and show that you are there for them and not only for yourself but also for them. So be other-centered as opposed to be self-centered.
Yeah, and I feel like, ego comes into play because there's a certain insecurity or a certain fear that, you aren't good enough as a leader. Like you don't have the qualities. There's this list of qualities and you're supposed to exude them and you're supposed to be respected as having those qualities. And and there's this imposter syndrome, I guess, that can emerge when one doesn't feel or always has anxiety around not being the right kind of leader. So, how does mindful leadership help with this sense of imposter syndrome that makes the ego go crazy?
Yeah, I like this. This is a very good observation, Stefan. Like, when we are in this situation of imposter syndrome, it's exactly what you're defining. It makes us less confident and more afraid. And anything that happens can bruise us, can bruise the ego, and we may react too much with it. So part of mindfulness is to have more emotional control and more self-awareness. So the first thing is to become aware that we are in this situation, that maybe our thoughts are taking us there, saying that we are not good enough. To be able to see those thoughts, to not believe in them, and to replace them is something that a mindful leader can do. So I may be aware that I'm taking a risk, a challenge, for example, in a new position as a leader, and I may be a bit over my head in some places. It's a big challenge, and I have to realize when the thoughts are coming that I am not good enough, and I have to replace those thoughts and say, I know that I don't know everything. I know that I will need a lot of help from a lot of people, but I can do this with the help of other people instead of saying, I'm an imposter, I'm not good enough, someone is going to discover me. It's to be honest as well, to tell other people, hey, I'm taking a challenge here and I will need some help from everyone.
And that will help connect you to your team, right? As we
Hmm.
were discussing earlier, how do you care about your team? Value them, as a
Hmm.
collaborators in the process. That going it alone, I guess, would be
Hmm.
like
And it
the
happens all
biggest
the time
sins.
at work, right? Sometimes you have a big project, you need to accomplish the project by the end of the year. And then suddenly they announce to you they're going to cut the funding by half. And you still need to deliver the same thing without the funding. So what do? Do you give up? No, you go to your team and you say, hey, sorry, something happened. I don't know if we can do it, but we want to try it. And then you need help. And if you are a mindful leader and you really care about your employees, Again, they're going to give you their best. They're going to do what they can to help you because they care about the situation, about helping you, and helping, in their mind, helping you is helping themselves because you care about them in return.
Love it. A vision of a better world, definitely. A world that's already happening in some
Mm-hmm.
corporations, fortunately. I guess we're running near time. Unless there's something else you'd like to say or anyone has any other questions, I'll pass things over to you to close things off, however you fancy, Tony.
All right. So I think we talk about different things that a leader need. We need self-awareness, and there are a lot of meditation we can work on for self-awareness, like breath awareness, body scan. We talk about emotional control, and that's also something we can work on with meditations, like body scan, particularly. And we talk about empathy. And empathy is a special kind of meditation where we start thinking about other people rather than ourselves. So we're going to do a short empathy meditation to close, where we're going to think about someone else and basically wish them well. So let's get ready. Let's get back into a comfortable position. Feet flat on the floor, hands on your lap. And when you are ready, close your eyes. Reconnect with the breathing, the gentle movement of your breath, your belly and your chest rising up and falling down as you inhale and you exhale. Find your point of stillness in your body, in your mind, and bring your focus to the center of your chest. And notice the sensations there. Now bring to mind someone you really care about, someone really special who helped you in the past, who's made a difference in your life. Someone who makes you smile when you think about them. Bring such a person to mind and mentally say to them from the center of your chest, may you be well, may you be safe, may you be happy, may you be well, may you be safe, may you be happy. And notice the new sensations at the center of your chest. Now bring to mind your own self, your whole self, and mentally say to yourself, may you be well, may you be safe, may you be happy, may you be well, may you be safe, may you be happy. And notice the new sensations. Now bring to mind your family, your friends, and mentally say to them, may you be well, may you be safe, may you be happy, may you be well, may you be safe, may you be happy. And feel the sensations. And now bring to mind your co-workers, all the people you work with, in your team, outside of your team. Bring them all to mind and mentally say to them from the center of your chest, May you be well. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be well. May you be safe. May you be happy. And feel the sensations at the center of your chest. And now slowly come back to your breathing, the gentle movement of your breath, and take a moment to reflect on your experience. And maybe set an intention for the remainder of the day. And when you are ready on your own time, feel your feet on the floor, your hands on your lap. You can wiggle your toes, your fingers, stretch if you feel like it. And slowly, softly, open your eyes. Thank you very much for spending the time with us today, and I hope to see you soon. Namaste.